Hey, Ryan, thanks for coming back and joining us in the studio. Today, we're going to be talking about commercial tenant improvements in central Alberta. So you are in the Red Deer, Lacombe, Black Falls area. Tell me about a story that you had quoting on a commercial tenant improvement.
So we get asked to do them every so often. And one of the biggest things we find is people don't always plan ahead. So they know in their head they want to add something, but they don't tell us that. So for instance, this one, they wanted to add a bunch of machines on the other side of the shop, kind of behind the customer area. And we had to run a bunch of conduits for it, not knowing they're going to add to it. So we sized everything for what they currently wanted, plus a little bit of room. And we were halfway through doing it, and we had a little conversation with them. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to add this. I was like, well, now that means a whole other conduit when we could have just upsized the one we were already running and accommodated all their future things. So
Right. So what should they have done when they realized they wanted to include all these things? Like, what would have been the right thing for them to do as the leasee, I guess?
The more information we have, the better, so we can plan ahead with, even if they don't know exactly what they want, if there's a possibility they're going to add a machine here, move something there, the more we know planning it, we can accommodate that. Like a lot of the time it's something small, but for when we're already doing all that work, there's almost no extra cost of adding room for it at least. And then, when you have to add it like 6 months later, you're like, really? You knew you were doing this.
Well, here's the thing. Like, was this inside the slab you ran the conduit?
This one that I was just talking about, that was up and over. So we had to get a lift in there, run a conduit and everything. So that one, same thing with in-slab too. Like we always, whenever we're doing in-slab work, we always tell them it's cheap to run an extra pipe or to go one size bigger with a pipe. Just do it now if you think you're going to add something.
I guess from your side of things, you could always run an extra conduit or two just for future.
Yeah.
And just build it into the price. So what are some other things people need to be paying attention to when they're doing their tenant improvements?
Just future expansion, even if it's not going to be for a few years, like the price of everything seems to just constantly go up. So it's cheaper to do it now and at least plan for it. Like I said, like you're still running wires in the pipe, you're still running a pipe. You might as well go one size bigger if you think you're going to add something. That's the biggest thing we see is that we get called back to somewhere we've already done work and they want to add one little thing. And it's like, oh, it would have been so easy like 6 months ago, a year ago. And now it's a whole project.
Absolutely. Now, what about things like fire alarm and security systems? Do you guys deal with any of that?
No, we don't, but we still, it depends on who's doing what, but sometimes we'll run the pipes for them, run all the conduit, all the boxes for the fire alarm, and then fire alarm guys come, they pull their cable.
So when you are doing a tenant improvement, do all of your inspections need to be done before they get occupancy and they're able to fill that space, or how does that work?
Yeah, it depends on the project. There's two inspections. There's rough-in and then final. So rough-in happens after we're done all of our initial works and we're actually pulling cable, all of that, before it gets covered up by drywall or whatever they're using to cover the walls. Or concrete if it's in the slab. And then final inspection is once everything's finished, so all the breakers are in, all the plugs, switches, fixtures, everything's in like that. Then they come back and inspect the rest of the project. So most projects need two, but there's some projects where if it doesn't get covered up by other people's work, we just get one inspection.
Let's talk about voltages for a second, because I know commercial can have a mixture of voltages depending on the space. So for a common tenant improvement, are you looking at two different voltages, like 120, 208 as well as 347?
It really, that part depends on what equipment they're running as well as what the service to the building is. So we've had a few where, we just hooked up a big shear for a welder in Lacombe. And he had 208 coming to his shop, so 120, 208, and he needed 480 volts, but he didn't have that. So we had to put a transformer in, get the 480 volts just for that one machine.
So with tenant improvements, what am I missing? What have I not asked you about commercial tenant improvements that, you guys cover as far as the electrical side of things?
The biggest thing we find out is, we can usually kind of help plan when we're doing the initial quote, but there's a lot of times where we'll look at the job and go, okay, well, there's a big stretch of wall space there with no electrical on it. Like, what are you going to use that for? And if it's just storage or whatever, then usually we don't need anything. But if it's going to be, they're keeping it empty because they're going to put a coffee bar there, they're going to put whatever. It's like, well, the ground's open. Let's just run a pipe there now, even if it's just cut off right above the concrete for now. It doesn't matter. It's there. As soon as you want to use it, we just pull wires in it and it's done. Whereas, yeah, we've done a few and they say there's not going to be anything there, and then we get called back. I'm like, oh yeah, we should add this or that or whatever. So
Now, something we didn't touch is some of the low voltage requirements, because, people run data cables, Cat 6 or what have you around the space. Is that a common thing now, or is everything just wireless?
everything for the most part is wireless, but there's also a lot of buildings that you have dead spots in. So if we see that, like say there's a mechanical room and then the office is on the opposite side of the building, we usually try to talk them into running a Cat 5 over, so at least they can run a Wi-Fi extender or something like that if their plan is to go wireless. Cat 6 isn't very expensive. Like, it's easy just to run one, even if it's just rolled up in the wall forever. Like, if it's there, they can use it if they need it. It's a lot easier and cheaper to do at the construction stage than it is to do afterwards. So if you're on the fence about doing it, just spend a couple $100, get it done now, and thank yourself later if you ever need it.
Yeah, just do it. Now, a lot of times you come into a tenant improvement and you have to do some demolition. I've been involved in a couple of those, and sometimes you have mixed voltages, especially with lighting.
Yeah.
So what do you most commonly find when it comes to lighting and doing those upgrades?
When they're doing demo, the biggest thing is don't cut anything. We get so many jobs where we get there, and even houses, and they've just cut all the wires and they're hanging there. And now it's hours of us trying to figure out what that used to go to, what it did before, what if it's staying, going, whatever. And the best thing you can do is cut the studs out around it, leave the wires hanging there. I know they're in the way and it's annoying, but it saves so much time and saves everyone money when there's no mystery wires that we're trying to troubleshoot after. And for all we know, it could have just been rolled up in the box and capped off and not even in use. But when it's just cut there, we don't know what it's for.
Right.
So that's biggest thing I would recommend people do is just don't cut wires, don't disconnect anything, just let the electrician do it. Like, yes, we have to charge for it, obviously, but it saves so much labor later. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing. The other thing, is when you have mixed voltages, especially when all the wires are just hanging out of the ceiling, because the voltage doesn't determine what kind of wire it is for the most time, commonly. So you'll just see wires like it could be 120, it could be 600. We don't know because it's the same cable for both. If it's just cut off, we don't see how it was connected, what wires were used for what purpose, if it's power coming to the box, if it's power going out to something else. And when there's multiple voltages, we can't just put power on it to see what turns on because it might be the wrong voltage. We might wreck something. So the biggest thing is don't touch it. Let us come and do that first, because we'll label it for labels that make sense to us. We've had it before where they try to label it and they just put 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's like, well, that's great. That's helpful for you. But what do those numbers mean? Like, well, that's just the box it came out of. It's like, it doesn't really matter to us. A lot of the labels we see from non-electricians doing it. So let the electrician do the demo for the electrical, and that will save you a bunch of headache later.
All right. And also it's safer. Yeah. Right. It's safer because, I've seen it happen where someone's cutting a wire and it exploded their pliers because it was still live 347 volts. And that is a pretty exciting light show.
Yeah. You don't want that.
You don't want that. That could, cause injury, damage, death. Bad things can happen. Yeah. So let the electricians do all the demolition. Is there anything else that you want to talk about for commercial tenant improvements for people in Alberta?
No, just the easiest time to do it is during construction. Once you've moved in, you have all your stuff in the way. There's twice as many things, if not 3 times as many things to worry about. So if you're thinking about upgrading your lights, changing anything like that, just do it at construction. It's always my recommendation. Like, it's possible to do later. It just costs more and it's more work. More downtime if you're operating a business out of there. Now there's people working in there when you're trying to work. It's always easier to do when you're doing everything else.
All right. Great words of advice. So guys, if you're doing a commercial tenant improvement in the Red Deer Lacombe area, call Ryan from LumenTek and he can come out and kind of give you some guidance on what that looks like and also give you a fair quote. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next video.